What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. Let's jump right in here. We're going to start with a crazy story here. Yeah, if you're a single guy looking for somebody, I got just the person for you. Here we go. Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband files for divorce. So if you've been looking for somebody, she's back on the market, boys. Yeah. So in case you've been wondering, looking for somebody, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman from Georgia, she will now be back on the market. Meat's back on the market. What's that quote from Lord of the Rings? Meat's back on the menu, boys. Yeah. So her husband filed for divorce, saying that the marriage was irretrievably broken. This comes after they already sought a divorce previously back in 2012, which they described previously as irretrievably broken as well, which they reconciled. That year, the Georgia Republican reportedly carried on two affairs, one with a tantric sex guru named Craig Ivey, and another with a gym manager named Justin Tway, both in her home of Alpharetta, Georgia. That was such, I know I had to start with that one here, and you can't make this stuff up. That was bizarre. Let me know your thoughts here on that. Over 2 million people are left without power in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. 2 million people. And they're saying that it could take weeks for some places. There's a lot of homes that are just completely destroyed and flooded.
A picture you have seen many, many times. There's no hurricane or tornado in America that does not have a scene like this, a building that is just completely devastated. What happens? I'm always fascinated. I see people coming onto their properties and picking things up and trying to clean up and get a head start before authorities are around, before there are dozers and things like that. What is happening right now that we're not seeing?
Well, part of it is looking at where people are going to stay. I mean, FEMA in the state have been talking about this, and they started before the storm, is where are we going to house people? People can't stay in their cars. They can't stay there. There's only so many hotel and motel rooms in the immediate area. So they're going to have to look at temporary housing. I think once you get to the rescues done, you get the roads open up, debris off. Again, Sanibel, some of those places, you're going to have to do more work to get temporary bridges. We're talking about bringing in like ferries and stuff. But I think the next big hurdle is what is going to be the short-term housing for all of these people who have lost their homes that are residents there. We've got some folks that haven't come down yet. They're seasonal, but the folks that lived there went through the storm. Where are they going to be living? And that short-term housing is a huge challenge given how much area has been devastated.
John, one of the things, a lot of people who don't live in Florida know Florida because they visit it and they go to places that are, well built and they see the best of it. Florida is a complicated place. There are lots of places that are not Sanibel, that are not Naples, or the fancy parts of it. There are lots of places that have come down and that are on the margins and that are low-lying and that are populated by marginalized communities. How do you try and make sure that the government's hand is applied with some equity?
Ellie, it's going to be difficult. I'll just be upfront about that. It's going to have to involve having multiple people at multiple levels that are really carefully looking at the needs of the different segments that have been impacted. And in a situation like this, where you're talking about a massive hurricane impact, literally every single segment of society has been impacted. The folks that really typically are involved in lower cost housing, that have come from lower cost housing, come from lower income areas, are going to be almost unable to help themselves. It'll be very difficult. They may have relatives someplace that they can go stay with. They may have other people that they know that are out of harm's way that they can go stay with. but a lot of them don't. So it's going to be a priority to try to work with the people that can't find housing on their own.
Yeah, and just think, all these homes are going to need to be rebuilt. Yeah, and the insurance industry is going to be an absolute nightmare. File your claims quickly, because there's going to be there's already been insurance companies that have gone out of business in Florida this year already. Imagine how bad it's going to be. Luckily, you can see here lumber prices have fallen to a new 2022 low as the housing market cools and mortgage rates approach 7%. So luckily, lumber prices have fallen. Remember that lumber prices had skyrocketed to a all-time high here, like about a year or two ago. Well, lumber prices have fallen 20% over a 4-day period ending on Monday. So they fell 20% over a 4-day period. That's a lot. The essential building commodity has been rocked by soaring mortgage rates and a slowing housing market. The 30-year average fixed mortgage rate is now at 7%, according to Mortgage News Daily. Lumber futures hit a low of $413 per thousand board feet on Monday, representing a year-to-date decline of 64%. And a 76% decline from its record high reach in May of 2021. So a 76% decline. That is a lot. And it dropped 20% in just 4 days here, which ended on Monday. So I guess that's a little bit of good news. That's actually for the whole country here. So that just shows you how hard the recession in the housing market is being hit right now because of rising interest rates. And that's part of how the rising interest rates um, brings down inflation. It brings down the red hot, overinflated economy. We're no longer seeing 20 people bid on a home the day it goes for sale, multiple bids, over asking price. We're not seeing that in the car market either anymore. I mean, cars were selling for over MSRP. We were seeing like luxury cars, sports cars going for $20,000, $50,000 over asking price. Even like regular cars like Hondas and Buicks and Chevys were selling for over MSRP, over asking price, over the sticker price. We're not seeing that anymore. Those are starting to, as the dealers start to figure it out, that they're sitting on the lots. You know, some dealers are more realistic than others, that they're sitting and interest rates are going up. Anybody who's not a cash buyer that's just writing a check and has to get financed is realizing, ooh, this is costing more. Same thing with home buyers. Home buyers are paying up to $1,000 or more for the exact same home because of the interest rate. The interest rates have basically gone from 3 to 7%. That could be $1,000 more per month for the exact same home. Or if it's an expensive home, if you're in an expensive cost of living area, it could be even more than that. So this is part of the way that the Fed and Feds around the world, central banks around the world, that's why they're raising interest rates to bring down inflation. Remember that inflation is at 30, 40, or 50-year highs in pretty much every country around the world. It's not just here in the U.S. So Canada's been raising their interest rates. Pretty much every single country in Europe has been doing it, the EU. And so, in fact, the U.S. was criticized a little bit because we were one of the later countries to do it. We were a little bit late to the ballgame. So, but now we're getting pretty aggressive, and it's really starting to slam our economy. I mean, we're going to probably be in a pretty deep recession at this point. And remember that this makes your credit card interest rates go up. There's no such thing as a locked-in credit card interest rate. So credit card interest rates vary, and they can raise them every single month. In fact, if you probably looked at your credit card interest rate from a year ago to what it is now, your credit card interest rate has probably gone up by a couple percentage points. And yeah, you can see here 3 reasons why your credit card interest rate is so high. that have nothing to do with you. This is because the cost of credit, the cost of interest, is going up. Yeah, this article says that the average person who has a credit card balance of around $5,000, say $5,200, is going to pay roughly $156 more in interest per year, every single year. Okay. So that means $156 this year, $156 next year, $156 the next year. And remember that interest rates are going up even more. So they're going to raise interest rates probably again this year. And they're going to raise interest rates next year as well. So that means even more. And if you have more than $5,200 in credit card debt, that means you're going to pay even more. And remember, this is just the raise on the interest that you're paying. This is just means more money on the interest that you're already paying. So yeah, this is credit card debt is very, very expensive. It's like the most expensive debt you can pay besides maybe going to a loan shark or something along those lines. So if possible, try to pay down any credit card debt if you can right now. One of the best methods to do that is called the debt snowball, where there's two main methods here. One, you can pay off the highest interest rate debt you have, which is actually the most dollar-wise best you can do. But the debt snowball method is it's not necessarily the best dollar for dollar way you could do it, but it's like it's kind of the best for your mind, and it can kind of snowball here. So what you could do is find the credit card that you have with the lowest balance. So say you have a credit card with a balance of maybe $100, $200, $300, something along those lines, right? Or the lowest balance that you have, whatever it is. Pay that one off. Maybe it takes you a couple months or something along that lines. Pay that one off completely. And then, I don't know, cut it up, put it in a safe, put it away. Don't use it anymore, okay? You don't have to necessarily close it, because if you close it, it will lower your credit card, or it will lower your credit score, okay? But you got to make sure that you don't necessarily use it again. If you do use it again, make sure you pay it off in full. If you pay your bill off in full every month, then you won't have any interest. Okay. What a lot of people do is they'll set their bill to pay off in full. You can actually go into your statement and say, just take it out of my checking account, pay it in full, or pay it in full, by yourself automatically. If you paid in full, when the bill comes in, you pay no interest. Okay. But let's say you have a credit card with $300 and eventually you pay that off after 3 months or something like that. Then you no longer have that bill. So let's say that bill was $50 a month. You can then take that $50. So not only have you wiped out that interest, but you now have that $50 a month that you can apply to another credit card. And you can take that $50 a month and double it up to your next lowest balance. And it's called the debt snowball, because you've now knocked out a complete payment, and you can debt snowball that onto the next lowest one. And then when you knock out that credit card, let's say you have another credit card that's $500. So now you have double payments that you could make on the second one, and you could pay that one off twice as fast. So for example, if you had another credit card that maybe had a higher interest rate, but it has thousands of dollars of interest, that might take you a long time to do. And you also might get discouraged. And after 6 months, you might lose the kind of willpower, and you might lose the motivation to kind of do it. But the debt snowball, you can pay things off pretty quickly. After a few months, you could say, ooh, I'm really close to paying it off. You could see the goal. You could see the end goal after not that long. And then when you're like, oh, I'm so close to paying it off, you pay it off and you're like, all right, great. Cut it up, put it in a safe, don't use it, whatever you want to do. It's your choice, right? Of course. But then you're like, all right, now I don't have to make this payment. No more interest on that credit card. Then you could take that payment, put it on another card, double payments on that card, and you're like, yeah, double win, right? So then you're knocking off interest off that card twice as fast. And then you could literally say, all right, it's only going to be X amount of months until I pay off this card. Then when you pay off that card, you've now had a double win, and then you're making triple payments on the third card because card number 1 is paid off, card number 2 is paid off, and now you can take both of those payments and apply it to the third card. And remember, the third card, you're making your normal payment on that one, so you're applying 3 payments onto the third card. That's the debt snowball. Really cool strategy. I've mentioned it here before, and I had like 100 comments of people saying, that's a really cool strategy. I really want to try it. Let me know if you've tried it before in the comment section. But yeah, that's probably the best way to do it, because even though you may have a credit card that has a higher interest rate, your highest interest rate card, if it has thousands of dollars, or $1,000 or $2,000 of credit card debt, it just might take too long. And yeah, it looks great, but if it takes you a year or two to get to it, it's kind of easier to take the wins and to pay those off and then have no interest on those. It's a really cool strategy. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. So make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to see checks that are going out here and have a deadline of October 17th. And you can click here to see my newest video on Social Security payments and raises. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.